Sonalji, I would like you to share one very important aspect. What are common challenges children face in managing time, and how can these be addressed? What are the challenges you feel?
Immediately after the last session, I had just mentioned about those two books and I mentioned about the time management. And then immediately it was taken over before, the inertia sets in again. And I'm really happy that we did this proactively so that we can really understand the aspects of time management and try not to oversimplify it just by saying that there is time and it has to be managed. So it's a very oversimplified definition of time management. So time management is basically so much more. It has a lot of psychological impact on a human being. When a human being is continuously running on his, 2 feet all the time and still feels that, this had to be accomplished, but we are not able to accomplish this and that, and it's burnout and it's anxiety and it's so much of pressure, which everybody is sensing right now. So I think time management, the first thing is that time management should not be very oversimplified as just managing time, but it is a way of life. It is forming habits. It is understanding where time slips by. And I would really, Surabhi ma'am, I would address to that question. But before that, I would like to set the tone by sharing this one story. You might have heard on it. It was in circulation on social media, but this is a very good place to actually reiterate it. So there is this one professor in the classroom in front of college students, and he brings a jar and he has a bag and he has some stuff in the bag and he fills the jar with tennis balls, and then he fills it to the top and then he closes the lid and he asks, do you think that the jar is full? And the students, the university students, they say that of course the jar is full. Then he opens the lid, takes out some stuff from his bag and empties some pebbles into that jar. And then the jar, he shakes the jars and the pebbles slip down through the cracks between the tennis balls and they settle down. And then again till the top, he closes the lid and asks, do you think that the jar is full? They all say that now, of course, now the jar is full. Then he takes out a bag of sand from the bag and then he pours in some sand. And then it slips in through the cracks between the pebbles and the balls and it all settles to the top. And then he says, do you think the jar is full? And the students say, yeah, of course, now there is no question of, of course it is full. Then he brings a mug of coffee and then he pours 2 cups of coffee in that jar and he says, how much ever busy you are, you should always have time to have a cup of coffee with your friends. So see, basically the thing is that everybody, as Rama ma'am rightly said, everybody has 24 hours. The question is, have we identified our tennis balls? Have we identified our pebbles? And have we identified the sand? So the important thing is that we need to identify our tennis balls, which could be, important relationships in our life, important goals, the academic goals that we want to set in our lives, important hobbies which will be with us when we are, through the growing ages, and small accomplishments towards which we will work, the hard work, the dedication, the time that we need to spend. So those are the tennis balls which should be put in the jar first. It all depends on what we put in the jar first. If we put those tennis balls first, then we will also have some time for, things that are not so important. It could be, certain things which are not as important as those tennis balls, but smaller activities, sometimes small projects, sometimes engaging our time in something which is absolute fun oriented things, but it still gives us pleasure. It still has some importance in our life. And then the sand is basically the trivial stuff that we do. And in the current society, what is happening is, because of the excessive use of social media, all that sand first takes place in that jar. And that is when it happens that, I didn't realize that how 2 hours just passed. I thought that I just woke up and it's already 11. I don't know where the time went by, because it is so attractive. The screen is so attractive and the entertainment is so quick. We have time for only like 15 seconds, 20 seconds to, go through the reels. And before our attention goes away, there is another reel, and then there is another reel, and we are, doom scrolling. And even Netflix gives us only 5 seconds to decide whether you want to stop or whether you want to continue. So 5 seconds is very less. Even before you realize, it has already begun, the second episode. So all we need to understand is that, are we filling our jar with sand first? Are we filling our jar with pebbles first? Or are we filling our jar with the tennis balls first? So the first thing is that we need to identify what are the most important 3 to 4 things in our lives. And last time when I was talking to you guys, I talked about the keystone habits. So those are the keystone habits, the tennis balls. Which is like absolutely important. Say for example, study. So basically the thing is that we all need to first, sit back, and you guys are already into meditation. So you can, sit down and think at least once a week about what are your tennis balls. And then plan your day according to those tennis balls. And basically there are certain, I'll give you 2-3 tips which really help you stick with those tennis balls, which I'll tell you. The first is a 2-minute rule. If something important needs to be done, if it can be done in 2 minutes, immediately do it and get rid of it. Certain, paying the bills before the deadline, or doing a submission before the deadline. If it takes like less than 2 minutes, if you feel that, for a student, it could be 10 minutes. This homework can be done in only 10 minutes. So you set a timer. Second thing is setting a timer. Setting a timer can do wonders. You just set a timer for 30 minutes, turn off all your social media, turn off your mobile, and everybody can concentrate for 30 minutes. And if you can do that, if you decide that in the morning, I'll take a chunk of 60 minutes in the first half and 60 minutes in the second half, and do all these important things in those times, then you will see that, the flow of the day becomes much smoother. So we'll come to how to prioritize these tasks. But the most important thing is that you have to sit down and first identify what are the most important things, which if you do on a regular basis will make a huge difference in your life. Those are the tennis balls. The tennis balls are the activities which you do on a regular basis without any pressure. Just regular basis, consistently, every day, or thrice a week, or 4 times a week, whatever is required. If you do it consistently for many years, you will be at a very different place. Those are all the tennis balls. So you have to identify that first. Now there is this very interesting Eisenhower matrix which you might be knowing, some of you might be knowing. So answering to that first question, which was what happens when there are certain things which were not planned. We plan schedule for kids as well as for us on a daily basis, but many a time some external sources enters and disturbs it. So I would like to address this by addressing to the Eisenhower matrix. So Eisenhower matrix is nothing but, you can imagine that it's just a grid of 4 squares. The first grid is zone 1. The second grid is zone 2. The third grid is zone 3. And the fourth grid is zone 4. Now zone 1 is all those activities which are urgent and which are important. So urgent deadlines, somebody falling sick at home and you want to go and hospitalize that person. It's a zone 1 activity. When zone 1 activity pops up, you just have to leave everything else and pay attention to that one activity. Those are all zone 1. It's a firefighting situation. Deadline. Tomorrow I have a submission. Tomorrow I have to submit something. So today I am in the zone 1 because I have to do the needful. I don't have a choice with zone 1. Urgent and important. So,
excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Purvika.
Zone 1 is the emergency situation, no?
Yes, emergency situations. All the emergency situations which require our immediate attention. Those are all zone 1 activities, and we have to do zone 1 activities. We don't have a choice with that.
Okay.
Now, zone 2 activities are not urgent but important. Those are the tennis balls. So the question that I asked you, I'll put that question again. You can write it down and you can ponder a little bit over it after the session. What is an activity, according to you, which if you do on a regular basis will make a huge difference in your life? Do you want to answer this question in the chat box? At least a couple of them. What is that one activity which you do on a regular basis is going to make a whole lot of difference in your life? What is that activity for you? Rama ma'am, what is that activity for you?
Yes, I will write it.
Everyone can write. Yes, everyone can write in the chat box.
Yeah, I see meditation. Okay. Studies, yes. Daily walk, meditation and yoga. Are these activities urgent according to you? Are they urgent? They are not urgent. But are they important? They are important. So these are the activities which will not put pressure on you that you have to do it now immediately. But those are the activities which should be your tennis balls, because it is going to make a difference if you do it on a regular basis. Okay, let's move on to the zone 3. Now zone 3, this is the most critical zone, I'm telling you. The first question, probably the answer lies in that zone 3. So zone 3 is urgent but not important. So those are the pressing. It creates a lot of urgency in us. Say for example, if my friend calls me and says that I'm really getting bored, can you please come with me for a movie? And you say that, she's such a good friend and I don't want to say no to her. I don't know how to say no to her because of whatever reasons. It is difficult for me to say no. Now, when she's asking me this, and for the school children that we have here right now, if your friend asks you that, can you please do this for me? I mean, it's, out of friendship. It's important for me. So it's urgent. It's immediate now. I mean, can you come with me now? Can you do this for me now? And you are trying to juggle your tennis balls. And there comes something which is very difficult for you to say no. And then out of, that not saying no, you say yes. And then the most important thing, you don't feel bad about it because you're doing it for somebody. So that is a justification that, I wouldn't have gone to that movie, but then I'm doing it for my friend. I mean, it feels so good when you do something for your friends, right? When you do something for somebody. But then be very aware if it is eating away the time that you have planned for something else. So that is why the zone 3 is very tricky. And when last minute things happen, when somebody just demands something, then you can't say no. So that is one skill which needs to be learned, that you should be actually willing to say no, because saying no is never a unidirectional decision. When you say no to something, it means that you're saying yes to something. And when you say yes to something, it means that you're saying no to something. So when you are saying yes to an urgent demand by your friend, you are saying no to probably another important task. So you are at a fork, and you will be at a fork, and we all are at a fork all the time, trying to figure out whether we should say yes or we should say no. But then sometimes people say that, I can't say no. It's very difficult for me to say no. But then if we say no to something, it also means that sometimes we are saying yes to, the peace that comes with it. Sometimes that is also required. So zone 3 is the trickiest because it involves somebody else's important, not our important thing, but somebody else's important thing. And zone 4, we are very aware of zone 4, not urgent, not important. So we feel guilty when we spend time in zone 4. when we do binge watching, or when we do something which is not, helping us being more efficient, more productive, better, it basically means that we are, so people who are, they are the category of people who are highly irresponsible, who are always late, who never complete tasks on time, that category of people, they spend a lot of time in zone 4, because those are all the trivial activities. Suddenly you're doing some work and suddenly something pops up on your laptop, some notification, and then you get carried away in that notification, and then you're in another world, just cruising around the world on the social media. And then after some time you realize, oh my God, what was I doing? And then you come back to the important thing. So, but a lot of time gets wasted in that. So these 4 zones are the key to understand our own priorities. And there are certain things, so time management is not okay. Zone 2, as I said, zone 2 is something which is a very important activity, but it has no time pressure. And those are the tennis balls. Those are the most important activities. Okay, so this is one concept which I wanted to explain. Then the most important thing is that we should be very worried about what our current trajectory of behavior is, rather than focusing on the end goal, rather than focusing on the end point where we want to be, where we want to achieve something. Rather than that, we should zoom in a little bit, actually zoom in a lot, and then see what are those little things we should be doing right now that we are not doing. Because if you're starting at point A and somebody is starting at a point B, so they are at the same place.
Correct.
But a person on point A actually does something which takes that person like this. And then point B person does something which actually takes him like this. And then when time passes by, after a few years, you'll see that there is a huge gap between point A1 and point B1. So we should be more worried about our time right now, how we are spending our time right now. Occasionally, we should be focusing on the goals which are set after 2 years, after 3 years, what will happen when we grow up. I mean, those are needed, of course needed. But on a day-to-day basis, sometimes you just need to add some discipline. And last time we talked about it, discipline is the highest form of self-love. And then everything ties together. This discipline ties together with the time that you're spending right now. And then for creating a habit, rather than thinking about an activity or thinking about something like, what is my weight, for example, what is my weight? So I want to achieve this goal. So then this is a goal focus. I want to achieve this goal. So your focus is only on that particular goal. How about thinking at the same thing in a way that I am somebody who enjoys a very good health and a very good fitness level. So making it as an identity. So, for example, allowing children to eat junk food for that matter. So allowing or not allowing children to eat junk food is one issue. But then if you make it at an identity level, I want to raise a child who is physically healthy. Then you come back and you understand that then what do you need to do right now? And then that will be a guiding source. That this is what basically. Yeah, Rama ma'am, I think you want to say something.
Yeah, no, so this is what is making me understand that everybody needs to learn to introspect. When you want to be on this time management track, you need to, what you are saying is like, you need to keep on introspecting yourself. Correct? Yeah, that is
Absolutely.
one very important thing, and that definitely at a childhood age, nobody understands that. But where we are responsible for forming the habits for the children, forming a routine for a child, making sure that he gives a designated time for physical exercises or outdoor games, studies, all that parents do it. And ultimately, once the child enters into the adulthood agehood, adult age group, that time the child starts thinking about it. So this becomes what you have planted a seed, later on germinates.
Exactly. So I think that is leading to the second question that we had in the chat. The question was from Catherine Johnson from Jamaica, and she has asked a question: how can a child be constantly motivated, stimulated in time mastery when she may not be able to conceive the big picture of his or her ultimate efficiency? So obviously the children cannot be aware of those big ideas and those big things and things like that. So as said earlier, it is important that you start with something which is immediately going to show results. Something that is immediately going to show results. Small goals, which will eventually lead to bigger roles. And at this point, I would also like to address that sometimes parents are very anxious about a child being proficient at least this or that, this sport, this hobby. A child should be really good in, say for example, tennis or football, and also certain hobby like music or playing an instrument. And sometimes it happens that we become very ambitious for our children. And childhood is and should always be a time for exploration. It is a time for exploration. I'm sure there are many parents, and even I was there at one point of time, when we feel that you have everything, you have all the resources, but you just don't want to attend this particular class. You are just not bothered about attending this painting class or football or whatever it is. But then we also feel that I enroll him for these classes, and then he or she is just not willing to go. They just don't have any ambition in life, or something like that. See, they are there with their own confusions and trying to figure out their own things. But if they are good at something, it will come back to them. That is one. And second thing is that we have to just give them opportunities, and we have to give them different different activities to explore and observe what they are really liking. What is their liking? Be very observant about them. And then the third thing is that we should also understand that Eisenhower matrix and those tennis balls for ourselves should be in the right place. So that when we expect that from our children, then they won't say that, you're saying something and then you're doing something. It shouldn't happen that way. They should feel that, yes, you are also. See, if a mother and a father can, after dinner every day, if they are taking a book in their hand and reading, a child observes. And when nothing else is happening, they will also find a book and then start reading along with the parent. So this is how a routine can be established. And for time management, which starts in the morning, the routine has to start a day before in the evening.
Planning.
Everything matters. What time you have your dinner, what you do after dinner, when you go to sleep, how much sleep you have had, that is going to determine the next day, because sleep is extremely important for children and for us. So if we are up till 1 a.m. and then next day morning, how can we start our day on time? It's a very difficult situation. So we have to really understand what is important. Where do we want to be? How do we want to become? What is the kind of a person? So I am a person who is an early riser. So is that what you want? So if that is what you want, then the day starts a day earlier. So that's how it is.
Very interesting facts of life, I must say that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. If there are any questions that might come in, we can actually, otherwise then I'll bring in a new concept But then before that, if anybody has any question related to this, we'd like to take questions.
So I have invited one parent and one child for Brighter Minds. Tanya ji, are you there? If you are there, please put your video on so that I can give you a spotlight. So the child's name is Urvi and Tanya ji. So Urvi has been doing competitive swimming. When it comes to sports, this time management becomes very, very important because there even microsecond matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I have invited Tanya ji and Urvi. So Tanya ji, please put your video on. Tanya ji is
okay. Hi.
Hi, thank you Tanya ji for joining. So for everyone, I would like to just introduce Tanya ji. Rama ma'am and Sonal ji, Tanya ji is a parent and her child has done Brighter Minds basic level program, that is Alpha, and also Brighter Minds advanced level program for children, which is Alpha Plus. And she has been into competitive swimming. And Tanya ji has been a very supportive parent because this academy where I'm sitting is in Magarpatta city, Pune, and she used to come from Bhugaon, which is other end of the Pune. And for a parent to come from there, spend whole day, and she has really been very dedicated, and we saw the results. So Tanya ji, I want you to share on this because like for a swimmer and for a sports person, this timing is very important,
True.
Over to you.
Thank you. Like Surabhi said, Urvi has been attached to Brighter Minds since 2022. So at that time, she had just finished her state tournament, swimming tournament in Maharashtra. And in that tournament, I recall that she lost her coveted position or the medal by a few milliseconds. And that kind of started the journey of understanding the importance of time. I think I never understood it like very evidently earlier, but recently she just took her 10th grade IGCSE, and during the exam I realized that she has been a homeschooler for 3 years, so she never took any exam. We were spending like 8 to 10 hours a day on swimming, gymming and everything, so she was studying 3-4 hours a day. So we realized that she might need a lot of time to adjust her pace, but within a week she just paced up and she understood. So that microsecond, millisecond, all those things, it became an innate part of her. And I found that sports had inculcated so much importance of understanding time. So that was one very good aspect. It itself was a therapy in itself. It helped her learn a very regimented lifestyle. So sleep on time, eat only very strict diet, and she had training like 6 days in a week. So and that was something she wanted to do by herself. We never told her to join competitive swimming. We don't have any sports people in our house. So that's was something she did. And there were a lot of sacrifices involved. All the kids were going out playing. She did not have a life. We were out of the house at 4:30 in the morning. 5 o'clock she had her swimming. We used to come back by 8. Then she used to sleep, wake up, study. And then again we used to leave by 3:30 p.m. and we used to return at 12 in the night. So that was our schedule, and there was not a single day that we got off. So, but then that helped her learn how consistency, the grit required, the importance of time management, being responsible. And that's how she also started studying actually. So earlier she was very afraid of maths because a school teacher had given her a feedback that she's not suitable for math. And somehow after the Brighter Minds program, she kind of got over those mental inhibitions that she had. And she started loving, and right now I think she's going to pursue math and physics. So that's something that Brighter Minds helped her. It helped her get calmer. She stopped judging people. Her capacity to study increased a lot because of swimming and gymming. So within 4 hours, she used to absorb a lot. And then with Brighter Minds, we found that it accelerated even more. And she was cheerful, she was learning, she was open-minded, she was less judgmental, she was happy, growing. So I found a lot of positives after the Brighter Minds program. And I feel that we start seeing the changes within like 3 weeks. We could see the subtle changes, like she's getting more confident from the small wins. There were daily practice sessions, and every day Swaraj he was our mentor, and he was teaching Urvi, and every day he used to touch base with us to figure out how exactly she's progressing, how we are practicing, whether it's effective or not. He used to give us small feedbacks every day. And then eventually by the third month, I saw that she was sitting longer. She was absorbing things faster. She was very empathetic. So things started changing very fast after the third month. So after that, I think she kept on doing it till she was with Brighter Minds. Then we gradually drifted away from Pune. But I think Brighter Minds has stayed with her for a long time. And she's still, I think it becomes a part of you. It never goes away, but it definitely does help if one practices daily. And I have found that our journey with Surabhi and Swaraj has been like a family. We never felt the kids, I think, enjoy more and they absorb more because Surabhi and Swaraj are both very accommodating, loving, open, transparent. So kids just love that. And that's why, because they are happy, they also absorb very fast. So, and we have drifted away from Pune, but we still are in touch with Surabhi and Swaraj. So that should be a testament of the great relationship they both have with the parents and the families.
I really
that's all from
appreciate
me,
your
Surabhi.
courage of allowing the child to take up competitive swimming, and also
Yeah, it's very difficult though.
also being ready for homeschooling. And sports is
Yes.
pursuing sports, even if not at a professional level. Actually,
Yes.
being into sports creates excellent mental health.
Absolutely correct, ma'am.
Exactly.
would
That's
say
what I found.
physical health,
Right after the swimming sessions, she was. Yes, yes. I mean,
because
health
of
is
the
obviously the
endorphins,
benefit
right?
that we see.
Because
Yes,
of the
yes,
happy
absolutely.
hormones that are
And
released
she was
after.
very sharp.
Hmm.
Exactly.
And
I
I
agree
think is
with you
Urvi
completely.
around? Maybe she can also just come and share her experience,
Yes.
because it could motivate all the parents and children to learn how important
Yes,
it is.
absolutely.
Because once
Let
they
me just
understand the
get her.
value of time, they learn time management. So Urvi is here. I'm giving
Yes.
Yes. Oh, she's online.
Congratulations,
Mute myself.
Urvi. Very
Thank you.
heartening
Thank
to
you.
see.
Thank you.
Great
As Thank you. As my mom has already said all the points I wanted to say. I have nothing more to say to it. But one thing that I will say is that I was a very proactive child. I used to do different kinds of sports. I went into skating, badminton. I think I also danced for a couple of years, Kathak, Odissi, ballet, and then I went to singing classes, did piano. So in also along with time management, I feel like extracurricular activities also helps a child grow, and this is from personal experience. I do not know, because in many countries usually the focus is on academics. I was lucky enough to not have parents who did not push me a lot, and they allowed me to explore my own interests. I explored thoroughly and then finally decided to settle. So one of the reasons why I feel extracurricular activity is so important is because it develops skill set after skill set after skill set. You bounce from one lily pod to another. You bounce from, suppose, chess to baking, and if you want to go to art, you start developing skill sets in art, and then from art to say skating. So in that bouncing, you change your daily schedule, and that change in daily schedule, or basically you're doing something you're interested in, then you automatically start understanding that, okay, I need to do this thing from this time to this time. I need to do this from this time to this time in order to develop the skill. And yeah, I think that's it, because time management is very important, but also allowing a child to explore his or her own interests when she or he is very young will help them grow when they become older. Because I see many kids my age now who fumble and do not know what they want to do anymore, because they have not experienced the spectrum of things. whereas I've experienced so much, so I know what I want to do, and I've experienced what it is like to do those things. So based on that, I think it is important. Like my mom said, my mom gave all the points. I have nothing more to say, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. So many of Urvi, just stay here because
Yeah.
many of us have seen that video with Brighter Minds with Amitabh Bachchan ji and Rama ma'am and Sonal ji. If you show something, or our lovely people, they can also show something, and Urvi can also try to feel that some object, because this intuition is very important to develop decision making. And if your decision making is quick and wiser, you save a lot of time in thinking about it. So Urvi, if I request you to do that, are you okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Sonal ji, you can show anything, or if our lovely people, they want to show something, please put your video on and show any object to Urvi. I would request Urvi to just try to feel. She told me in the morning, I connected with her in the morning. She said, I have not practiced for long. I said, it's okay. Just give it a try. That courage is also important. So she is happy to, just show. So you can just put your video on and show any object. Urvi would try to feel that.
She will blindfold herself.
Try to feel that with her own intuition and concentration. So, Princey ji, I guess Princey ji is here. Okay, Sonal ji is showing something. Urvi, Sonal ji is showing something. You can focus on Sonal ji.
Yeah.
Yes, sister, I am also showing something.
Okay, so just give me a minute, because two people showing at the same time may confuse Urvi. So because Sonal ji is showing something, so after this I will give you a spotlight.
Yeah.
Feel it. It's other than brown, it's black, and it's yellow. There's a lot of writing on it, so I'm just trying to deduce.
Great. Yes, so thank you, Urvi. Yes, this is the same color that you are feeling. Just hold on, because one more person wants to show something. Anupma ji, is it you?
Yeah, I'm showing.
Okay, I'll give you a spotlight. So, yes. Wait 1 minute, and let me have Urvi also.
I'm not able to feel exactly.
Yeah.
Just to bring it.
Okay, so she is showing something.
Okay, it's blue, and that's all I'm able to deduce. It's blue.
You are able
And
to
it's dark blue, and I don't know, a stick. A stick, yeah.
So you can open your eyes and check. And let
Very good.
Yeah,
Very
so
good.
share with you, Anupma ji and Sonal ji. Every child can do it, and people
Very
who
good.
sometimes because we are not able to believe such things, so we feel that maybe child is seeing from the down and all that apprehensions. I also used to have. So what we do over here, we put things inside tunnel pouch, and Tanya ji knows. She has been a very disciplined parent regarding that, and she has tried all the ways, put the light off and everything she has tried. And children are able to do. So if suppose you feel that maybe child is seeing from the down or it's not possible, I would request you to, just try it with your child or the child whom you can trust. And I ensure you that every child, not only child, teen, youth, and even adults, have capabilities of mind which you cannot even imagine. So mind's capability is not. Thank you so much, Tanya ji, Urvi, Anupma ji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, Urvi. It is very interesting that your journey, as well as the skills which you have developed. And I like the way you expressed about the time management. So whatever Sonalji was saying, like, the child needs to get an exploration during the school days,
By
which you
everyone.
get from your parents, correct? Yeah. And because of that, today you are so confident, you have a clarity for your future life. So God bless you and all the best wishes. So Sonalji, it's really interesting that, again, I would say that, parenting is an art, and how you develop your children is very important. So whatever we are talking about, this time management, or, how to develop it, it totally comes from the parents community. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. It comes from
Starts from
parents.
there.
Yeah, it starts from there. So when we have got the child on this earth, it is very important that how we nurture it, how we guide, how we give them an opportunity, how we seek a right kind of an help if we are not aware. That makes a lot of difference, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, Catherine.
Yeah, Catherine.
Thank you, sister. From all we have been listening, and participating in since morning, it is just important, as was rightly said, that it starts from home. And if the home and the schools, for those children who attend schools, publicly, because home schools are really taking over as well and doing a good job, that the schedule that we observed in schools should also be observed at home. And it may be taken a little lightly sometimes, but the home and school must be in partnership. So it makes no sense to be scheduled for school and then, at home you do things randomly. So I just thought that we all know this, but it could be a little more, attended to. From this webinar, from this session, I think it should be brought to bear on each of us as parents and grandparents to make sure there is a schedule at home as well.
Yep.
That.
So for that, there is a tip that if you can create cues is like habit stacking. Say, for example, you do this particular activity, followed by that you do this, you do. So if you can have like 2 or 3 activities clubbed together, just one after the other, then, it becomes an organized way of, looking at things and spending your time. So Catherine, did I answer your question?
You have, sister. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I would take this opportunity to share with everyone over here that we have created this community of parents, a WhatsApp group, which you can join. I am sharing the link for it. And also regularly we are sharing with you a few videos almost every day, so that, that awareness can be brought. So I'm sharing that link also with you in the chat. So you can check the link to join WhatsApp group, the link for YouTube. And also this LinkedIn is there, which you can follow, and few initiatives that are going to start there, you will be able to get it. And also you can comment so that other people also get your opinion and we connect together. So once we interact with each other in the group, you can, like today 2 people shared their questions beforehand. So maybe we can make that group more interactive. Maybe whenever we do something nice, you can put it there so that it will help others. So I request all of you to please join this WhatsApp group. Also this YouTube, you can follow if you have not, up to now you have not subscribed, you can subscribe, and also follow this LinkedIn so that we remain connected. Every week we bring to you few webinars, and going forward also we have been thinking that okay, we will take your questions only, and maybe we can have few sessions where only your questions are addressed, your concerns are addressed. So you can just find that and let us know. Sonalji, we have 6 minutes remaining, so can we take one more question if someone has it?
Yeah, sure.
If someone has any question regarding this time management skill, and you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sardar.
Okay. Okay.
Else, I can, if questions are not there, then I can share one little concept which will help in time management, because it's not just one tool or just one thing, but there are many things which, if done together, something works. So which makes our lives easier. So I also talked about this book, Getting Things Done. Last time I spoke about it. So Getting Things Done, and the other book is Atomic Habits. These two books are really good on productivity, time management, and overall life management. So in Getting Things Done, there is this one system of managing your tasks that you need to do on a regular basis, or whatever your activities are, basically. So what David Allen, the author of the book, says that our mind is not for remembering the tasks that need to be done. Our mind should be free of any, too much of stuff we are trying to remember. So if we clear our heads from the tasks that we need to do, we will be able to think of, innovative ideas and creative thoughts and, all these things. So how do we do it? So there is a process. So the first step is capturing all the tasks. So what he says is, say once a week, or whenever you are, whenever you want to do certain activities, your mind is like full of, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to take care of this, I need to take care of that. Just start creating one long list of everything that needs to be done. It could be a personal thing, it could be a professional thing, it could be a hobby related thing, or errands that you need to run, or something related to children. Everything should come in that one list. At that time, you don't have to think about what is the priority of which task. Only jot down everything in one place without thinking about it. Just write it down. And then you find time, say for example, see if you're making this list in the morning, then maybe in the afternoon or in the evening, you sit down with that list and try to clarify the tasks. So in that clarification, the first step is, you see one task written, you ask yourself a question. Can it be done in 2 minutes? If yes, immediately do it now. If no, it means it is going to take more time. So it has to go in the projects folder. So it has to be categorized under a list called projects. And then there could be many projects. I mean, it could be your child's project. It could be some project which you are planning to do for, certain, community activities, professional related activities. So there will be many folders which you will be putting these tasks into. So this comes in the clarify this thing. Then the third step is organize. Organize is you actually think about that whole project and actually organize your activities in that. So you then only are specifically working on that one particular task. So you are not, scattered. You're not thinking of other tasks. You're only planning about that one project that you are taking care of. While you are doing this, there should be some time in the week, once a week, that you should be able to look at your whole life from, say for example, I mean, this is an analogy. You're looking at something from 5th floor. So it's basically a zoom out view. You can see many more things. So a zoom out thing. So this is a step which is called reflect. So the capture, clarify, organize, and then reflect. Reflection should happen once a week when you are looking at something from the 5th floor, say for example. So you're looking at, your life, say in terms of, what would I be doing after 5 years? Then you come down after 3 years. Then you come down, what will I be doing something next year? Then you again come down like 2nd floor. What will I be doing, in the next month? And then what should I be doing? What will I be doing in this month, in this week, and in this day? And then you are looking at a task from ground floor. When you do this analysis, you know that your day-to-day tasks are aligned to your long-term goals.
Absolutely correct.
So that is reflect. And the last one is engage. Engage is actually doing the task. You do everything, and when it comes to task, if you start procrastinating and telling yourself that it can be done later on, it can be done whenever, then you have to remind yourself that discipline is the highest form of self-love. And there are certain things which only discipline can get things done. So then that always has to be, at the back of everything. So this is just one small, and if you're interested more in this, you can read the book. There are a lot of podcasts by David Allen. You can go through it. It's a very, very important productivity tool. And also go
type the names in the chat box, Sonalji, so that
sure. I'll do that. And I think that's all from my side.
Nupama ji is saying that please explain engage again.
So engage is actually doing that activity which is on your list. Engaging with that activity. Actually getting it done. Actually doing the action of doing it. All those 4 are planning. The 5th one is engaging. That is action. So I basically am not able to see the chat.
So sometimes we just plan in our mind and then we become confused what all needs to be done, and at night also while sleeping we keep on thinking what is to be done tomorrow, because most of the time we keep thinking about past or future. So the takeaway might be focus on today. Maybe in the morning you can create that list for today and then finish it, just decide your things. So engage is equal to implementation. Yes, Tanya ji. That's right.
So it's capture, clarify, reflect, engage.
No, it's capture, clarify, organize, reflect, and engage. Say, I'll just give you an example. If you want to organize your clothes, so the first thing that you do is take everything out from the wardrobe. That is capture. Understand what all you have. Then the next step is next actions. So what do you want to do with this? So you start organizing it. So you start sorting your things. So that is organize. Put it in the proper drawers and, properly organize it. And then engaging is actually, getting that cloth out to wear. So that is actually, engaging yourself in that activity.
It's wonderful. Yeah. A wonderful example to remember the flow also now. Yeah.
And Tanya ji has also put all the 5 steps. Good. Maybe in the group also we can put something about it, all these books.
So,
excuse me.
Thank you.
So correct, engage is implementation. That's correct.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I am having a query for Sonal ma'am. Actually, I'm a student. I'm in 12th and it's like I make all my list of what should I do the next day, the next week, the next month. So I've planned it out till the January, so that what are my goals in studying, what are my physical goals that I have to achieve this particular weight and everything. But sometimes there are scenarios like I'm like, I'm not a guy that wakes up early easily. So let's say I want to wake up at 6 a.m. but I woke up at 9 a.m. Then I feel ashamed of myself that shit, now I'm late. Then I say to my mind like no worries, I will do the work anyhow, managing my remaining time. But then something happens, like I get a lot of frustrated in the work. I don't get the work, I don't want to study, and I study for 2 hours, but then my goal is not fulfilled and I feel, really bad about it, and then I just quit it. I don't want to do it. So how to tackle those feelings?
So the first thing is that I sincerely appreciate that you're sharing this.
Yeah.
Because we all are mortal humans. We all are human beings. We have our own, things going on in our head. We have our own frustrations. We have our own insecurities. There are a lot of temptations, distractions, and all those things while you are actually working at it. And trust me, it's going to be like this always. I mean, it's always going. So the question that I want to ask you is that when you decide to wake up at 6 a.m., there has to be another decision along with it. That what time you are going to bed.
Yeah.
Waking up is one thing, but then what time have you decided to go to bed? Because this moment of going to bed is what is going to decide your waking up time, right? So,
Yeah.
so you don't get frustrated at 9 a.m. in the morning. You remind yourself a day earlier. And if you feel, secondly, if you feel that you are not able to get up early in the morning, so it is possible that you are able to concentrate at night.
Yeah.
It is possible that you are a night person. Then
Yes.
don't force yourself to wake up early in the morning and study. Try to study at night.
Okay.
And if you feel that you are getting distracted, then you have to be reminding yourself that, this is what will happen if you finish this. How will you feel tomorrow morning? So gently you have to, you have to really get things done by yourself, not
Yeah.
by, because when you don't do things which you need to do, then obviously there will be frustration. But then once you are already up, it's already 3 hours late, there is nothing that you can do right now. All you can do is make the most of the time that you have right now. So without wasting time on what had already happened, try to see if today you can, be on track. And then this is a very tricky situation that happens that, see, I'm already 3 hours late. So now, anyway, my day is gone. Anyway, my day is lost. So let me just chill like a villain today. That's not a good thing. So you have to immediately get back on track. So whatever is gone is gone. So what do you have right now in front of you? See, this year is a very important year for you. We all, this is the most important year. So one little decision that you take should not affect your next decision. At least you have to take care of that. So whatever time you have right now, what can you do best out of it is what you should be concentrating on, rather than, this time is already gone. So now my day is anyway gone. Now I don't even feel like studying. So this leads to more and more frustration, more and more depression, and it is very unforgiving for our own self. See, we become our own enemies. See, you did not wake up early in the morning. Now you'll face this punishment that your whole day will be gone.
Yeah.
But then in the end, we can't just,
Give up like that.
give up. Yeah, there is no way out. You can't give up.
Never ever.
It's not worth it.
Yes.
Good.
And thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it.
And that's a courage, and which we need.
Yeah, absolutely. How many of us have the actual courage of, sharing these things?
Yeah.
It happens with all of
Thanks.
us.
It happens with all of us. Trust me, it happens with all of us. But we move on. We carry on with the same courage, and we carry on with our lives, and we try to get better and better. And it's a lifelong process, I'm telling you. The more we keep ourselves on track, rather than just getting distracted by what we could not do earlier, is going to make matters worse, right?
Yeah. I get it. Thanks.
What you can do, we also have one group for youth. People who have already done Brighter Minds or tried Heartfulness, So you can even join that group, because in your age group, you are more motivated with your age group people.
Yeah.
When you see them working, then you become more, passionate about it. So Tanya ji is writing continuous improvement. Yes, Tanya ji. So Sonal ji, Rama ma'am,
is it okay if I leave, because it's a hard stop for me?
Yeah, I know, but just 1 minute I will need from you. I would request everyone to please put their camera on, so that we can
that will be nice.
together.
That will be nice.
Because I would like to share with you that Sonal ji has to go somewhere today in a very important party, but still she has managed time to come here with us. So I would like to have
always a pleasure to talk to children and parents, and it's always.
Please put your videos on. Thank you, Catherine, Kirti ji, Pradnya ji, Tanya ji. I request all of you to please put your camera on. It's okay. You all are lovely people, looking very nice with your great smile. And let's have a picture together. And I'll send this picture in the WhatsApp group of parents. Please join that group. Don't forget to join. So I'll click this picture.
Thank you, Surbhi.
Maybe we all can smile also. Stuti, you can smile. On your father's shoulders, you can smile. Yes.
Thank you.
So I'm clicking this picture. Just give me a sec. Thank you so much for your lovely smiles. I see parents joining happily with children, and that really excites me, Rama ma'am, Sonal ji, and all of you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
No, really a very important discussion, and we are really thankful, Sonal ji. Your advices are going to help the parents community as well as to every one of us, and looking forward for further interactions. Thank you so much, Surbhi ma'am. Thank you, and
Thank you so much for hearing me out and for making me a part of the group. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and we all are Brighter Minds family, Heartfulness family, and a warm welcome for everyone. Please don't forget to join the group so that we stay connected. I don't want miss connecting with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.